Hello, hello. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Today is Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. And today we are recording show number 167. You heard that right. We are 167. You know what? And I forgot to announce that in my shows earlier this month. So this will be the first show where I announce this. This is April is officially our anniversary month for Automation Unplugged. So this is, there's Charlotte. There's my household mascot, and she's decided she wanted to get up. But April is our 4-year anniversary of doing these interviews. So in the last, I'll say 2 years, we've ramped up the pace at which we do shows right now. Most of last year, 2020, and this year, I'd say we're on a pace of approximately one show a week. And maybe in our formative years, we didn't quite do it that regularly. But 4 years for Automation Unplugged. So it's pretty exciting. All right. Who do we have on the show today? I have a longtime friend and industry rock star. Many of you tuning in here live or watching in replay or listening to the podcast, you guys will know this person because she's an industry veteran. And her name is Katherine Wheeler. We call her Kat. And she is an area sales manager at Snap AV and Control4. That's her current day job. And she is also the author of a new book, or a newer book. She'll tell us the exact publishing date of the book. But I actually just ordered it, and I just had mine arrive. And the name of the book is There Is No Cloud. Tech mystery novel. Some poor person in customer or tech support gets murdered, and Kat goes on the chase to help get that mystery solved. And we're going to talk about how she came into writing and ultimately went through that process, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Kat, and we'll get this party started. Kat, how are you?
I'm great. Hey, Ron. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Where are you coming to us from?
I am coming to you live today from Columbus, Ohio.
Awesome. And we are live. You pointed that out. I'm guessing now that you are a famous author, are you doing a lot of these live type promotional type shows, or are you normally pre-recording, or what's normal there for you?
This is my first live one. They've all the other ones have been pre-recorded, but the industry as a whole has been extremely supportive of the book and given me a lot of opportunities to get it out there. So that's really sweet.
Well, and look at this. We already have Michael Restrepo. He says, I got the book. Woohoo! All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Industry veteran and rock star Michael supporting you. That's fantastic. Kat, you and I met some years ago. We probably met, I want to say maybe during Crestron, or I know you worked at Crestron for a period of time, and as did I. But I'd love for our audience for you to go back in time, maybe through kind of your background. You've been around the block, you've fought lots of battles, you know lots of people. Take us through that. How did you get started in this industry?
So I think, like a lot of people in this industry, I got started kind of on a lark. I was in college and I was living in Kentucky, and I was attending bar. And if you guys don't know, in Kentucky, bars are open till 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had 8 a.m. classes, and it was rough. And my dad was finally like, one day he was like, you just can't do this anymore. You've got to get like a day job or a part-time job or do something. And so, as was the custom in those times, as we are old now, I got on monster.com to find myself a job. And I found myself a job as the receptionist at an AV shop in Kentucky called Digital Lifestyles. It's no longer in business, but it was a great little restaurant house there for a time. And I didn't know a subwoofer from a volume control. Knew nothing, but fell in love with it. And that's kind of how I got my start. And I've never had another job since.
All right. So where did you go from that job? Like, what did you do, and in what order, if you don't mind?
Sure. So we had a sales rep who came into the office all the time. He was our Runco, Stewart, United Leather, D-Box, and Bowers and Wilkins, Rotel, and Class A rep, named Bob Dorrance, who I love dearly. And he was in all the time, and we got to know each other really well, and he really liked me, and he gave me my first job and my first opportunity to be an outside sales rep. He took me on the road for the first time. He taught me everything I've ever known about sales. And from there, I moved to California, and I worked for a while for one of Mike Cavanaugh MK Marketing's companies out there. And then from there, I moved to Manhattan and got to work for the brilliant Marla Suttenberg, Sapphire Marketing and Restaurant. And now I'm in Ohio at Snap AV and Control4. So outside sales for over 15 years now.
Got it. That's very impressive. So when I'm going to go back to recent history, when you were at Sapphire Marketing in Manhattan, working for the amazing Marla, what territory did you have, and maybe what product? Were you only Crestron, or were you the whole Sapphire portfolio of products?
The whole Sapphire portfolio of products for residential. So they did have a few that were designated commercial and residential, and I believe they still do. I covered Manhattan, a very part of Long Island, which was the Hamptons, and Fairfield County, Connecticut. So I split that territory with a friend of ours, Ken Van Emmen. He and I split New York.
I've had Ken on the show.
Yeah. I listened to it to prepare. He did great.
He did great. Yes. You're going to do great too, though. You're already doing great.
Feeling pretty good.
Awesome. And you transitioned then over, did you transition to Snap, or did you transition to C4? Because they merged.
To Snap. Yeah. Years before the merger. So I've been at Snap for almost 5 years now. And so it was pre-merger.
Okay. Pre-merger. What's that been like with you now having to, are you the regional for both the Snap lines and the C4 line?
Yes. Yeah. So all of Snap products and Control4 products and our third-party products.
I'm curious, when that all went down, what did they do to get you and all your peers geared up and cross-trained so that you could?
We went to Salt Lake. I am C4 certified, so I can program my own system.
No, I see a Neo remote over your shoulder.
Product placement.
Product placement.
Product placement. Yeah, I'm actually really lucky. They did send us all Control4. Well, I don't want to say all if somebody's listening and didn't get one, but they gave all of the area sales managers Control4 systems to put in their homes. And so I had a dealer come out and do the lighting installation for me, because I don't touch the wires, and program my own system. So I have Claire for security. I have C4 for all of my control. I have touch panels in the walls. I've got Hunter Douglas shades now. So yeah, so I've got the whole system here.
You have some fans. Another automation unplugged veteran, Sean LeMay. He says she's our rep for both Snap AV and Control4 and is amazing.
Thank you,
Sean. Of this world. You're going to give him some discounts on his next order, aren't you? Is that?
Yeah, I totally paid him to say that, for sure.
Definitely. That's awesome. What does it mean, Kat? I mean, Sean's obviously a fan. What does it mean for a rep to be a good rep for dealers? Like, what's the DNA? How do you earn that position or that status?
So funnily enough, this is the third time someone's asked me that this week. And somebody asked me to do it in a sentence because they're putting something together for some people. And I wanted to say 8 million things. But the thing that I think I took away from it, and the crux of it all, is when you're doing B2B sales, what makes you vital and important to your customers is to do the things for them that don't benefit you at all. So when they need help, you help them, whether it's financially beneficial to me or not, because then I'm a resource for them, and they're always going to call me before they call anybody else, because they value the honesty, the trust, and the relationship that you build.
Did you know that on day one, or was that learned?
I was so learned. My first boss, Bob, the one thing he told me, he said, if you want to be successful at sales and it's what you want to do for a living, he's like, the only thing that you need to know is all you do is if you say you're going to do something, do it. And it's kind of true.
Isn't it interesting that, and I'm going to use from my experience, like at Lutron, not Lutron, but at Crestron, I want to say I was maybe one of 20 or 30 salespeople, and yet they aren't all the same. And so I'm going to say that in your position, and I don't know maybe most of your peers, but there's high performers and lower performers as demonstrated, not a judgment of their person, but as, through performance. Do their dealers love them, buy products, grow? And so the idea that what you just said of say what you're going to do and do it, it sounds so straightforward. Why does thus all salespeople not do that?
Because you get busy and you get distracted, or you don't keep good notes for yourself, or you're not organized enough, or whatever. I mean, life happens, and it happens to all of us. And I think everybody goes into it with best of intentions, but you have to prioritize being there for your customer before anything else. So I always try to do for my customer before I do the internal things. Because, I mean, it's a job, it's a business. We have reporting to do and things to do, but I always try to do those second after I do whatever it is for my customer, because they're the most important part.
Amen. Are you flying? Are you,
No.
What has the last year been for you in the role as an area manager?
I got a lot of work done in my house. I've been here for so long now. We are finally getting back on the road, but driving only, so not flying. So people will start to see me. That just happened this week. So I'm excited to get back out there. It's going to be a little different. It's been over a year, because we started in March of last year that we all got sidelined.
Wow. And has the word come down, you're allowed to travel now?
Yep. As long as we are maintaining protocols and wearing our masks and being socially distant. And I've got vaccinated already, so I think I'm okay.
Interesting. And so what's the protocol? Is it that you have to wear a mask? Your audience or your customer needs to be wearing a mask? And how do you think that's going to go down? Because there's probably going to be people you meet that don't want to wear a mask.
I think maybe, as long as you feel comfortable in the situation you put yourself, number one, our company has been exceptionally supportive about whatever we want to do and the ways that we feel comfortable doing it. And I think that's kind of the golden rule is if you're going into a situation, I think it takes a little more preparation than maybe it used to think about how you're going to manage all of those things. But that's the way I think about it. If it's with somebody and I can do it in an environment that I feel comfortable, then I'm going to do it. And if it has value, I'm not just going to go see people just to go see people. There has to be value to it.
Got it. Understood. And if you're out there listening, I see you guys out there making posts and comments. Don't be shy. If you have questions for Kat, post those questions into the comments, and I will do my best to pay attention to the stream here and ask them of Kat. But I know a lot of folks want to know more about this book. So Kat, talk to us about the process of writing a book. Where did this come from? How long have you wanted to do this? Tell us more.
So I think I've wanted to write a book my whole life. I am a big reader. I've always been a big reader. My dad is a big reader. He had books in our house my whole life. So I'm a very, very avid reader. And I think you know this, Ron, but when you're in sales and you go out on the road, you spend an inordinate amount of time in hotel rooms. And there's only so much travel when you're by yourself where you can sit at the hotel bar or watch TV or work. You get really bored. So there was a while when I was at Crestron that I was looking for a hobby and I was looking for something to do. And everybody had made suggestions and somebody said, learn how to knit. And I tried. And there's a lot of girls at Crestron that have some really bad baby blankets from that year and some scarves that were awful. It wasn't for me. So I decided I was going to write a book. And I was talking to one of my dealers at the time about it. And he said, well, what are you going to write about? You got to write about what you know. And this is the only thing I know is this industry. And then I kind of started to think about how I would do that. And I think all of us, when you think about mystery novels, there's like series of mystery novels with the girl who works in the bakery and she solves mysteries, and the girl who walks dogs and she solves mysteries. So why can't there be a girl that works in the AV industry that solves mysteries using technology? And so that's kind of how it developed from the beginning.
And what was your process like of writing? Did you just sit down at one take and write the whole thing and knock it out? Or did it happen in little bites? I know some of the folks tuning in are writers themselves, and I know they're super curious about your process of writing.
It was a lot of little bites here and there in hotel rooms over maybe the course of a year and a half. And I finally got it to kind of an ending point, and my dad's going to kill me for this. I was talking to my dad about it on the phone one day, and I was like, Dad, I wrote a book, thinking he would think it was really cool. And he's like, I don't know why you're telling me. He's like, you never finish it. You're not going to finish it. You're not going to do anything with it. And I was like, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. And so that was in like January of last year. And so I had this extremely rough draft that was way shorter than the book needed to be. But I thought to myself, all right, if you're going to finish this, and if this is something you're really going to do and explore getting it published, how do you do that? There's, different ways of publishing. You can self-publish or go through a publishing house. And the first thing I wanted to do was kind of see, I was the only one that had read it. And is this something that is publishable? Is it interesting enough? Is it well written enough? I don't know. It's my first time doing it. So I looked online and found some literary agents and some people that do critiques of novels and sent it to them and got some great feedback. And so after that happened, I was pretty jazzed about it. And then it was just a matter of deciding whether to self-publish or query editors and agents. And I decided to self-publish, which I think was the right choice for me.
What was the reason? What led you to decide to self-publish?
Because to do so now is so much easier than it was, I think in the history of writing. It's really easy to put a book out there and market yourself and do all of those things. Plus, I'm in sales, and you retain your rights to the book when you do that. And you also get paid a higher commission on, whatever. So for me, it just seemed like a better deal. And I didn't want to spend years writing query letters to agents and literary agents and publishing houses. That just didn't feel like a fun thing for me to do. I wanted to write a book and get it out there, not get in that kind of business, because it's a lot of work too. You have to send different letters to different agents and different letters to different houses. It's kind of like applying for jobs, and you just send them out and send them out and send them out. And I don't want to do that.
Well, my copy just arrived, so I have not yet had a chance to read it. Although I did read the acknowledgments in the back, and I want to ask you about that, but I'm going to get to that. Can you give the audience here just a little bit of a primer? What is the story?
Yeah.
Why did they want to pick this up and make this their next summer read?
For anyone in our industry, it should be their next read for sure, because it is about home technology. It's about a girl named Cameron Caldwell, and she works at the world's largest home automation company, which is based in New Jersey. It's called Smart Tech. And
there's another large home automation company, commercial automation company based in New Jersey. That's
interesting coincidence. Yeah.
Interesting coincidence. Okay, continue.
So she works for a home automation company, and the premise of the book is that she's out calling on dealers, having her meetings, and she's at one of her huge dealers, and he's having a problem with a third-party product that does voice commands in your home and listens to everything you say. And he's having issues integrating those devices. They're called home tech hubs in the book. I think we can all see what those are. And they won't integrate with the smart tech systems. And they're, little $50 third-party pieces that are, consumer grade, and it's ruining the, $250,000 system that this guy's put in his house in the Hamptons. And so she takes them both, and in investigating why these things won't integrate with the system, discovers that there is an extra chip in one of the hubs, the one that won't integrate. And so it sparks her down this rabbit hole of, is there something wrong with a lot of them? Is that why all of them won't integrate? The ones that don't integrate with smart tech systems don't? Or is it, like a one-off thing? Is it like a private investigator's, whose house is this? Who's listening in? Or what does this chip even do? So she takes it, because she's not a technical person. She's in sales. So she takes the chip to her tech support guru at Smart Tech and asks him for his help as they investigate this mystery. And as they're doing this, they come to realize that the inventor of the home tech hubs has been murdered. And so then they think something is seriously going on here, because does one thing have to do with the other or not? No spoilers.
And you don't want to tell any more, because then you would try. Yeah, I don't want to push you to disclose too much, but so there's so many questions I want to ask you about that, the core company. But is it fair to say that you're taking a lot of your personal professional experiences and weaving that into the storyline and kind of what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the setup for her job is my job. I mean, we're not the same person, and if you read it, you'll see that there's glaring difference between the main character's personality and me. So it's not like a self-serving thing. But she does have two guys that are on her team that she works with that kind of help her solve the technology, and those are the only two characters in the book that are based on real people, and those guys know, so it's okay.
They know who that is.
Yeah.
So I went to the back of the book where it says about the author. And actually, just prior to that, there's the section here that I'm sharing for those listening to the podcast called the acknowledgments. And you are naming a lot of people here that I know these people, and I know these people from Crestron. I mean, some of them are just first name, some of them are first name and last name. What was that like? Was that fun for the people in your life, your professional life, to know that they've now been written into your book?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all got a big kick out of it. Most everybody has a pretty good sense of humor about it, and gets that, it's a humorous book. I mean, as much as a murder mystery can be humorous, it is. And I think everybody was kind of flattered. I thanked the people that I thanked, and I think you'll know this because you're a Crestron vet. It's one of those places when you go work, how much you learn when you're there. And since when I was there is when all this started, I felt like it was kind of only fitting that I did.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's fun. So how do people buy this book? And I'm saying that, obviously I know this, but I'm gonna let you say that, and then I'm gonna share the page. So tell people where they can pick this book up.
It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books. You can go to my website, which is katwheeler.com, and there are links to purchase on there, or just go to your Amazon account. You can buy the ebook, or you can buy the paperback version.
Got it. No, so I'm sharing on the screen for those that are out there watching your current book. And I noticed that the title here at the top of your website says titles, plural, not title. So I'm making an assumption that you might be working on more books, or what's yes?
Yeah. So there is a sequel to this, which if anybody has a really good name, I'm into that, because that's been a challenge trying to figure out the name of the next one. Open to suggestion. But yeah, so where we leave off in the last book leaves an opening. It was planned to be a series. So yeah, she's where we leave off in this book. She's lost her job at Smart Tech. She's on her own. She's starting a consulting company in the city by herself, and it's rough and not going super great. But she has vowed to herself that she will no longer get involved in these crazy murder schemes. She's on the straight and narrow. And then, of course, she gets pulled into another crazy technology-inspired incident. Because I think our industry as a whole is not very visible in the world, which I think is crazy, because we're in everyone's houses and in everyone's offices with what we do. But we're not very recognized. So I wanted to make the technology be the focus of all of these books. So it's the reason that all the crimes are committed, and it's also the solution for solving all the mysteries.
Love it. I'm sharing now your Amazon. That has to be just a little bit surreal to see something that you wrote and you put so much energy into, to see that up on Amazon for sale. And I guess you're getting commission checks from Amazon now for sales.
It's actually really funny. I got my first check from Amazon, and I was really excited about it because I think, as I mentioned to you, I do sales, but I don't make anything. So this is the first thing I've ever made in my life that's mine and my own, and it's physical and people can buy it. And it was my product. So I was really excited to get my first check, and I wanted to do that thing that people do where they frame their first dollar, but they do direct deposit. So
you could go to the bank, take $1 out, and it could be your symbolic first dollar.
I know it's not the same, though.
It's not the same.
I really wanted that first dollar to, hang on my wall to show that, it was mine and mine alone, that I made it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's one of the most rewarding things I've done from that kind of perspective.
You have a fan, Nancy Wells Curtin. She says, it's a great read. Can't wait for the sequel.
Thanks, Nancy.
What would be the timing of the sequel? And no pressure from me, but of course, do you think it'll come out this year?
That's the goal. That's the dream. We're not there yet. The goal is to begin. So I hired a self-publishing company for the last one. And the process after that is you take a really rough draft to them, and then you send it off for beta reads, and it comes back, and you edit it, and you send it off and it comes back, and so on and so forth several times before you even get into the editing process. So once the rough draft's complete, it's still months away from publication. And while you're doing that, you're working with a graphic designer to do the cover and all of that other tangential stuff. So the idea is that we start that over the summer. So I think the goal was to get it out by this next fall/winter, like maybe InfoComm time, to do a big push around that. But I don't know if that's realistic. We'll see.
Well, now that you're going to have maybe less time at home because travel's kicking back in, it might be challenging, right?
I think I actually do my best work on the road.
Oh, you do your best work on the road. Oh, wow. So yeah. It might be better.
Yeah, because when you're at home, I'm always distracted by like home stuff. But when I'm in a hotel, there's nothing else to do, so I might as well write.
All right, I want to jump to another topic, and that is, I know that you, I'm looking at my notes here, you are the founder and chair of the Women in Technology group at SnapAV /C4, at Snap C4. So tell us about that. What is that, and why did you start it?
I mean, I've been in this industry almost 20 years, and being a woman in this industry is different. It's never been an easy road. I will say I haven't had as many issues or problems as I've heard, or bad experiences that some of the other women out there have, but it's a thing. And last year, with the world changing the way it has, Snap AV and Control4 instituted a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. And one of their agenda initiatives was to have a team member inclusion group start. And so I thought it would be a great idea, especially since we're a new merged company and we're all working from home now. I mean, I work remotely anyway, but no one's in the office, so it's hard for people to get to know each other. If we could have a women's group at the office to kind of support each other. And we do. And so we started in September of 2020, and we have 85 members now.
Wow.
So it's kind of amazing. Yeah.
That's kind of, what's the goal?
We have a goal. I should have probably read that in prep, but we have like a mission statement. But
that's okay. What's the general goal? The general
goal is to provide resources and support and opportunities for women of our industry. So what we have done over the course of the last year is we've started a book club, as one does. We started a mentoring program, so all the women have the opportunity to be mentors or mentees. We do quarterly panels. So myself and Danielle Carr, who you may or may not know, who works at Control4, we started a quarterly question and answer with industry leader panel. So we invite women leaders from our industry to come in and talk to us about their experiences in the industry. And that's been extremely successful. We've had amazing women like Carol Campbell from the Women in CE group, and Heather Sturwitz, and Amanda Wildman, and Jamie Bressmeister, and Katie McGregor Bennett, and somebody else I'm forgetting. That's going to be bad. But we've been doing those every quarter, which has been amazing. And we want to continue to do all of those things. We've been working with, the women of Avixa to try to do some cross-pollination there and see what we can do. So there's a lot of good initiatives on the horizon for our group.
No, that's fascinating. Is the group only for Snap and C4 employees? Is just to be clear? Okay.
But not just women. We have 3 men, 3 brave men that have joined us. Hopefully we'll get some more.
At One Firefly, we, if you look at the ratio of women to men, I want to say our team in large is probably somewhere around 70% women, 30% men.
Which is, obviously not the industry standard. I am now and am 90% of the time the only woman on the sales team.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. Working for Marlo is kind of an eye-opening experience for me because she's such an amazing salesperson, and she hired a lot of women. There were always women around at Crestron and in sales and in different positions. So I don't know, but because of this women's group, I'm really excited about it. I've got to meet some of the women that work at our company that are engineers or on the oversee team, or do things that I didn't know we had women in those positions, but we do.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, it's fair to say, you named, as you mentioned, some of the speakers in your group, some of the women or female entrepreneurs running integration firms around the country. But if you look by and large at our industry, it's very male. There's a lot of men running these businesses, a lot of men in these businesses. And I'm wondering from a sales standpoint, it potentially could be challenging or stressful to be a woman calling on those men. But you figured it out.
It's
so
never
why,
bothered me.
what is, why have you made it work and you've succeeded? Like, what do you think your secret sauce is?
I honestly don't think, like, in the beginning, I just didn't think there was any, I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that people would treat me any differently. And so I never acted that way, and people never have. I mean, I've had one or two weird instances, but for the most part, I think I'm treated like an equal. I expect to be. And I think because I expect to be, people do. But I think that's not been everyone's experience. Heather Sidorowitz, since we brought her up, just wrote an amazing article that's on AV Nation right now about, she had a pretty terrible misogynistic experience like a couple weeks ago. And there is a AV yoga group that we are all a member of. So it's Domestic Women and International. And we do yoga on Wednesday afternoons. It's pretty fun. So we've gotten to know a lot of people from around the industry and different companies doing that, which I think is amazing. But she asked that whole group to write into her about things that people had said to them during their careers. And so she posted a list of all of those things, and it's terrifying. Wow. I can't imagine some of the things that women have heard or people have said to them. It's insane. But I think people look at that and get really discouraged. And I kind of have the opposite opinion, because I look at it and I see 20 years ago when I started, there's no way that a woman would have written that article and it would have ever been published in a trade magazine. And 15 years ago, there's no way women, anonymous or not, would have contributed things that had happened to them. And 10 years ago, there's no way there would have been enough women to contribute to something like that. So I see how far we've come, and I see the women that are out there now, and I'm inspired. They're way better than I am.
Well, that article sounds amazing, and my team, we're gonna find that article and we're gonna put that down in the notes here on Facebook, but we'll also put it on the page on our website. Yeah, I have Martha Wheeler. That might be a family member.
That's my mom.
That's your mom. Very interesting talk. Hi, Mom. She's doing great. All right. So, Kat, you have the experience. You have the benefit of having worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of integrators over the years. And you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between. And I always love to point out, if you have some observations of maybe integrators, small or large, I don't think size matters, small or large, old or new, but dealers that you think are really, they're getting it and they're practicing business in a way that is really enabling them to thrive. Are there, whether you don't have to name any companies, but are there practices that or trends or things that you're observing that really stand out to you as leading to success, maybe from current or past customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing that contributes to anyone's success. It's get involved. It's taking opportunities. It's being connected to the companies that you work with and the people that work at those companies, because it will serve you long term to know the products better. It's being a better business person. Stop letting yourself get so distracted, taking the time out of maybe the fun stuff to do the hard stuff, which is, business analysis and looking at where you spend your money and where you're being profitable and where you're spending, like all of that stuff. None of that's fun. Nobody likes to do it, but the guys that do it and do it with a regular cadence are way more successful long term. And looking at different ways to be more profitable in different areas is important. But I do think getting involved in the industry as a whole and getting involved with your, I'm not saying this because I'm a sales rep, but getting involved with your salespeople and getting to know more people at those companies only benefits everyone. And giving your feedback when you're asked for it, participating. It's good advice for anyone.
What trends are you seeing here in 2021? We're in April. We're at the end of April, almost into May 2021. What trends in terms of tech or what there's maybe hyper energy out there from your dealers? What are you seeing them excited about?
Networking. The whole last year has been hugely networking focused. Right now we're getting ready to go into spring and summer. So this is our fun outdoor time. So lots and lots of Sunbright, outdoor speakers, outdoor WAPs, that kind of stuff. So that's been super fun. Lighting is always a big thing. And I'm a huge huge believer in lighting and shades and leading from that, because it's such a positive end user experience. And end users are so much more connected to their lighting than sometimes their AV stuff. So I think it's the platform we should all rest on.
Amen. Well said. Again, I want to pull a thread on your experience as a sales rep for years working with a number of different manufacturers. And I'm going to say this question is really related to the interface, the internal interface within companies between sales and call it operations or product or production. Sometimes that can be a relationship that's oil and water. Sometimes sales can want one thing and they can put undue pressure internally. What are your thoughts on that? And as it relates to, what do you think makes for a good relationship between sales and your company's production, product, customer service team to really, allow 1 + 1 to equal 3?
Communication. Like, talk to us. We know the customers. I love our product teams and the product. I like the product guys. I really do. I always have. They develop some cool stuff. But sometimes when you're developing things in a lab or from a conceptual idea, it isn't super great from an installation perspective. So getting it out there in the field and testing it, and we know the right customers. We talk to them all the time. We know the guys that are going to give good feedback and the guys that are going to take it seriously. We can help do that and facilitate that. Plus, we have a good idea of what our industry wants because we hear it all the time. We know who our competition is. We know what they're selling a lot of. So having more and deeper and better conversations around product and innovation is super important. And I think, relying on the salespeople, we wouldn't be doing this unless we were extremely into, technology and innovation. So leverage that, because you've got a group of people that are super excited and spend all day talking about technology. We're a resource. But I love the product guys because they got some wackadoo ideas sometimes.
That's awesome. Any advice for people that are just starting their sales career? What they could do or what they should focus on if they're early in their career?
Do
what
do
is
what
that?
you say you're going to do.
Do what
and
you
meet
say
everybody. Every interaction that you have is a stepping stone to something else. Every person that you know, all of the people that you meet, it all matters. Gosh, how many years ago did we meet, Ron? Years.
It's many years.
And the one thing I'll say, especially about this book, is the people that I've met in my career. I've worked in Kentucky and California and New York and now Ohio, so all over the country. The people that I've met over the last 20 years of doing this have been so supportive. So this is a wonderful industry and a great place to be. And you should go out there, join all the groups, meet all the people, get on all the Facebook groups, go to all the industry parties and events and all the trainings and everything you can go to and just soak it all in, because there are so many good people here and so many resources for you. It's unlike any other industry you can work in.
I could not agree more. I'm going to put a few more comments here just to give people shout outs that have gone out of their way to say hi to us. So we've got Maddie. She says, great conversation points here. Kat is amazing.
So Maddie's great. She's inside sales at Snap AV and Control4. So she's one of the brave women that's, getting into sales in our industry. She's pretty fantastic. She's also my mentee.
She's your mentee. All right, Maddie, you got a good mentor. Actually, I want to ask you about mentor mentee. We're talking about maybe setting something like that up here at One Firefly. So maybe we can spend a minute or two on that. We have Tate. She said she is part of our team, female or male. She is integral to our success. Yes,
thanks,
she is. And we got Ken Irvine, great integrator out of Indy or out of.
Okay, I got to tell you my Ken Irvine story.
All right, you got to do it while his name and face are up on the screen. What's your Ken Irvine story?
He loves this story, by the way. So Ken Irvine used to be the Crestron rep, and he was the Crestron rep when I was a receptionist at my little AV shop in Kentucky, and he was our Crestron rep.
Ken was a Crestron rep when I was a Crestron rep. So Ken and I were peers during that time.
Yeah. So Ken, we went to our first CDN. It was in Indianapolis, and Ken was our Crestron rep, and he was going to take our company out to dinner. So where do you go? Obviously, you go to St. Elmo's, right? You're in Indianapolis. So Ken took us to St. Elmo's.
Shrimp dip.
No, I love the shrimp. It's not the shrimp that was the problem. So we go, and I'm really nervous because I'm like 21, like 20. I can't remember. I was really young. And I was really nervous because I'd never been on like a business dinner. Now I know it's Ken Irvine and no big deal. But at the time I was really nervous. My boss was there and Ken and like the programmer for our company. I was really nervous. And we go to this fancy place. And so we're at St. Elmo's eating dinner, and we order our dinner, and I order a steak, and I ordered it mid-rare because that's what I eat. That's the way I like steak. And they bring it out, and I swear to God, it hadn't been cooked. It was completely raw. And I was like, oh gosh, what do you do? I don't know. And I sat there and I ate the entire thing because I was too embarrassed to have like sent it back in front of all of them. And I went back to my hotel room that night and I got so sick from eating it. Because I was so nervous. I was intimidated. I was with that was our
Ken, you intimidated this poor woman. You must feel terrible, Ken. I can't believe you did that to her.
He had no idea until maybe like 5 or 10 years later when I told him that story. He had no idea.
That's fine. And what would you do that now if that steak comes out to you?
Oh my gosh, I'll just send it back in a second. I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But at that time, I think it was like I'd maybe been in the industry for a year or less. I was so nervous. I was so young, and I was so impressed by the restaurant rep.
That was it, man. That was the big deal. All right. One more comment here. Ken says, all right, I'll come back to you, Ken. Ken says, I'm not a bad guy. Sean Holleran says, Kat is a rock star in our industry, and I'm proud to call her a coworker. Keep being you.
So he is just saying that because he recently won my AV March Madness bracket, which I have a bracket every year. Ron will get you in it next year for just a bunch of rando people in the AV industry who I know and love. He won this year. So his prize was a bottle of Angel's Envy Rye, and he just got it. So he's saying that because he's thankful about
Oh, he's kissing up. Good job, Sean. Congratulations.
Sean, you only get it if you win. Can't help you next year.
That's funny. We do a March Madness bracket every year here at One Firefly. And 2 years ago, I know nothing about college basketball, so I'm admitting my ignorance to everyone in public here. And so I just kind of used some random logic and, maybe based on seed or how I was feeling at the moment. And I ran our March Madness that year. And it seemed like I had a wonderful score. I was like in the top, 1-2% of the country. And it seems totally like there was a plan there. I did that same strategy this year, and I think I was close to the last in our company bracket. So you flip a coin. That was my strategy, and it didn't work so hot this year.
Yeah, this year was an embarrassment that we won't talk about in my bracket. But I am from Kentucky. We're really big on basketball, so I love doing it every year. And some of the guys do horrible and don't watch basketball, and some people get into it, but it's all for fun. They don't have to pay, and I just send a bottle of bourbon to the winner. Speaking of being from Kentucky, in case you don't know, Ron, and you're not doing anything on Saturday, it's Derby Day. So get yourself ready.
Dirty Day?
Derby Day. It's Kentucky Derby.
Derby Day, the Kentucky Derby.
On Saturday.
Okay, you wear your big hats and drink your mint juleps. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Mint julep. I don't know what a mint julep is.
Yes.
Okay, what's a mint julep?
It's crushed ice, bourbon, sugar or Karo syrup. I go with Karo syrup because I'm lazy, and just mint. So basically bourbon and sugar and mint.
That I had no idea. So it's basically just bourbon and sugar, and then sugar helps you metabolize the alcohol. So it makes you, that sounds delicious.
It's fantastic. I'll make you one sometime. My mom just gave me a julep cup last week for the first time. So I got a proper cup to make it in and everything. So
are you going to go to the Derby?
No.
No. Is that too big of is that happening?
It is happening this year. It didn't last year. This year it is on a limited scale, I believe. I grew up in Louisville, so I've been any number of times. So I only go now if somebody from out of town wants to go, I'll take them.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah. Well, I'll watch my TV in bed.
We have quite the audience here. You've drawn quite the audience. This is impressive. So I'm going to close on this. There's a book here, ladies and gentlemen, by the one and only Kat Wheeler. There is no cloud. And you guys can go and you can purchase this book and help our friend Kat. There it is. It's on Amazon. And you search for it, you find it right away, pick up either the Kindle or the paperback, and
rate and review. Super important.
And that's right. What are the instructions regarding a review? How does that help you?
So the nerd in me finds this exceptionally interesting, but that's on Amazon. Books are ranked, and how they're ranked is how they're displayed. So once you get over a certain level of ranking is how you're like on the front page and are suggested to other members. And that's kind of the trick to selling books. But you're ranking like, so if you were to sell something on Amazon, call it One Firefly's widget, and you got a 5-star rating, your rate and your ranking wouldn't necessarily be 5 stars. They have a strange algorithm to it that's based on how much the person who's rating rates and how recent it is and how many ratings of what level they give. So I don't know, it's super complicated, but the more ratings and reviews you get, the more visible I will be, and then I can sell more books.
Sell more books. Let's help Kat. Let's help Kat get those next commission checks coming in from Amazon, so she keeps writing books. And if you're her friend in the industry, you might be in the next book. You never know. That's a thing.
Yeah, there's I take notes now on the dealer calls. I'm like, that's hilarious, because in this book specifically, there's a lot of like end user experiences, because her and her teammates talk a lot about, they have a weekly call, and on that weekly call they talk about who had the worst meeting that week. And so they'll share like some of the things that are like the real life experiences that happened to me in this industry or in there with people's kind of snafus with technology, audio video emergencies and such.
When you are receiving the panicked calls from these customers, yeah. And I just want to say, for a period at Crestron, the angry homeowner would get funneled through the sales team to field and then take it to the market to address it. OMG, the stories that would come through. And then just as a road warrior, a salesperson out there on the front line, I mean, the stories over years, they add up and they make for great this one
content. You're Lutron and Crestron, but the one that made it in the book that's my favorite is, I got a call from an end user one day, and it's a woman, and she's super duper upset because her Crestron shades won't work. So we like go through the whole thing, who's your dealer? I don't know. Where are your shades? I don't know. Where's your equipment? I don't know. Well, what's the story? So finally we get down to it, and she doesn't have automated shades. She doesn't have Crestron shades. She just bought the Crestron app off the App Store and thought that would motorize her regular blinds. And then she's mad at me because I can't refund the $100 that she spent in the App Store, because that's an Apple thing. And I've never been screamed at by someone in my life for so long, but that woman. And it was probably one of the best things that ever happened.
Well, those things that you and I go through, and all the salespeople out there have gone through, or customer service. I mean, all of those experiences make you better. They make you stronger, and you carry them with you forever. Kat, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
In addition to buying your book,
yes,
which we want everyone to do.
Everyone. And also to tell everyone they've ever met to buy it. That would be helpful as well.
That would be even better. And they should share it on social media. And you have your website, which I'm looking at the URL. It's katwheeler.com.
Kat with a K.
K-A-T Wheeler.com. We're going to drop that into the notes. Anyone else that wants to get in touch with you, is there any other preferred method of communication?
My email address is kat@katwheeler.com. So super easy there. Or all my socials are linked on the website. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of the above. I am active Instagram, on social, all over the place. And I will write you back.
Awesome. And I have to give a fellow Kentuckian a shout out. Maggie, she's on Team One Firefly. She says, checking in from the Bluegrass State.
You have a Kentuckian on your team. That's amazing. We're the best people.
Yes.
There you go, Maggie.
I agree. I concur. Kat, great to see you, dear. Thank you for coming on, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks, Ryan. Anytime.
All right, folks, there you have it. Kat Wheeler, longtime industry friend. That's the best part about this industry, is you meet people, and there's such a diverse set of people and experiences. And next thing you know, they're writing a book, and they're including a lot of characters of people that you know. And as soon as I saw that she had come out with that, I said, Kat, we got to have you on the show. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Again, this is show 167. If you have not already done so, please go to your podcast app. Leave us a review. I think that's I'm going to tie into what Kat was saying. When you guys leave reviews, whether a star rating or you type something in, it does help the algorithms, and ultimately more people get to see and hear the content. So that would be greatly appreciated. And you can always go to our website at onefirefly.com to learn more about us and our products and services. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you so much.